Ladies and gentlemen, are we all good? Are we good to go? Can I hear it a bit louder? Are we good to go? Are we good to go? All right, cool, awesome. So get yourself comfortable. We will begin shortly. All right, okay, cool. We will begin our second session for today, and our topic is Women on Track. Nothing to do with women running, but we specifically picked this topic because we want to show to you what kind of changes that women has bring when it comes to shaping the landscape of women in sports. Since childhood, women has always been taught to live for others, be it for their husband, for their children, for their daughter, parents, but herself. Do you realize that? I mean, do you guys can relate with me? We always live our life for our parents when we spawn, and then for our daughter and our husband. I'm not so sure if women actually have time to think for themselves, right? But only few women are passionate enough to reinvent themselves and even take sports as the path for them to make their future of their own, right? And to speak on this today, we bring to you three women, wonderful women, who have actually shaped and paved the future forward when it comes to women participation in sports. So to speak on this, we have Dr. Teo Chin Shim, Nurin Afika, and Dr. Farah Hani Imran with us today. Right now, we have Dr. Teo online. Can I just have Dr. Teo online so that she can greet our people here in Rekascape as well?
Hello.
Hi, Doctor. How are you doing?
Hi.
All right. So we have the way we do it today is a bit unique, where we will give the panel 20 minutes of their own to present their thoughts, their stories, and then we will go with our second panel and third panel, and then we will wrap up with a Q&A session. Is that clear? Is that all right? All right, so all the panelists are clear as well. All right, so Dr. Teo, you will have 20 minutes on your own. I'll just be here. You can just see me here. And after your session, we will invite the second speaker on stage and the third speaker on stage. Okay. Is that okay? All right, so 20 minutes from now, up to you, over to you.
All right. Hello, everybody. Yeah, my name is Chin Sim. I'm wearing my hospital jacket here. Yeah, and maybe I just speak a few words in Malay first. Is that okay? Yeah, and that will be the only Malay I will speak at the beginning. Is that right?
And also, before you start with the Malay part of it, which I'm pretty sure everybody would love to listen, right? I want to introduce yourself to our audience today.
Okay.
That's all right. And I have a very, kind of like very long but very compact bio of Dr. Teo Chin Shim. Dr. Teo is Singapore's first female sports and exercise medicine specialist and presently senior consultant and clinical director of the Sports and Exercise Medicine Center at Khoo Teck Puat Hospital, you know, the one that you can see on the jacket, right? For 25 years. She served as team physician to Singapore elite athletes at multiple major games. Between 2014 and 2018, she led team medical support for Asian School Games. And she was most recently appointed as Chief Medical Officer for Team Singapore to SEA Games in 2019. Dr. Teo is also currently chairwoman of Women in Sports Committee of Singapore National Olympic Council, Advisory Committee of the School of Sports, Health and Leisure of Republic Polytechnic, Therapeutic Use Exemption Committee of Anti-Doping Singapore, also member of Board of Governors of RP, SNOC Medical Commission, Executive Committee of Singapore Disability Sports Council. She is everywhere in Singapore, and she is such a prominent figure that we are so honored to have her with us today, right? So over to you, Doctor. You can continue with your Malay speaking a bit, and then, just take this show on your own, please.
All right. So anyway, you all can hear me, yeah, loud and clear, yeah. Okay. Okay. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's still morning, and I would like to thank the Institute for Youth Research Malaysia for your kind invitation to participate in this symposium. Selamat pagi, puan-puan dan tuan-tuan. Saya ingin mengucapkan terima kasih kepada Institut Penyelidikan Pembangunan Belia Malaysia kerana sudi menjemput saya untuk mencertai simposia hari ini. Yeah. It is an honor indeed to share this platform with so many speakers and athletes. And I think I'm one of the few who is never represented Singapore in as a national athlete. But you know, just 2 days ago, have you all watched the movie, the Disney movie released Mulan? Yeah, it just got released. Yeah, I couldn't help but think because I just watched it 2 days ago. And I couldn't help but think of the symposium today when I was kind of crafting what to say. And because I think that there is, all of us, there's a little bit of Mulan inside. You know, if you have watched Mulan, yeah, there's a little bit of Mulan in each one of us. So I've been asked to share in this track about women becoming a catalyst to a healthy and active lifestyle through participation in sports, both individually and professionally. And I thought, I'm not going to spew out some data to you or research or some policy, yeah, because, but rather I was going to illustrate this in the form of some personal life lessons for us, for myself, and for that I learned over the years. I will tell you my age. I am 55. Okay, yeah. So I have been a medical doctor for about 30 years now. So I will share from my life from when I was a little girl. Okay, yeah. So I would never have imagined in 1972, when I think about it, when did I start to exhibit some kind of leadership quality? Yeah, because I think all the audience that are tuned in online, and we have people from as far as Japan, you know, there are some Japanese friends of mine who have tuned in, and a few of my friends from Malaysia, Singapore as well. And I would never have thought in 1972, my first, all these leaders that we're speaking to, the first time I exhibited any kind of leadership quality was actually in my convent school in Johor Bahru. Okay, I tried to get my classmates to follow me to go and feed stray cats. Okay, in the school, in the Johor Bahru convent. Okay, that was the first time getting everybody together. You know, yeah, and I think some of you are already leaders. Some of you will be converted already. So we are speaking to converted leaders as well as up and coming leaders in Malaysian women and sport, right? And I didn't know that, of course, at 7 years old, that when I am 55 now, I would be speaking to a group of people from all over the world via Zoom and sharing my role as a sports physician on the topic of women and sports. Right, so it's generally quite amazing to me, yeah. And in a strange way, I feel quite at home today, even though I'm in Singapore, because it's like I balik kampung, you know, yeah, gone back to my kampung. Because I will tell you a little bit about myself, yeah. But we have one thing to thank for COVID-19. If there is no COVID-19, it is not possible for you and I to have this meeting. It would have been done live, right? As far as I know, it's always done live. And this is the first time we are doing it on Zoom from all over the world. So we have COVID to thank one thing, okay? Yeah. And so my lesson is that life is an adventure, yeah. And I would like to believe that nothing in our life is ever wasted. Every experience that we have, when we reflect, we want to learn the lessons it wants to teach us. And even from a simple movie like Mulan, okay, yeah. So just to share a bit about myself, I was born in Singapore, but I was raised and educated in Malaysia, okay. And I completed my university education in Singapore, and I pursued my medical career after that. So I grew up with labels like tomboy. You know, the first 3 speakers were sharing about stereotypes, right? Breaking stereotypes. So I grew up with labels like tomboy. Now, if you look at me also, people will say, that one look like a tomboy. Hair is short, you know, wear glasses, no makeup, correct? Yeah, so tomboy lah, not ladylike. Yeah, this is one of the things. And maybe some of you in the audience might be called a tomboy too at some time in your life. Yeah, either past or present. Yeah. So because I was often found playing with stuffed leopards and toy cars and playing with machine guns and dressing up in army uniform, because my father was an army officer in the Malaysian Armed Forces. And so I dislike wearing dresses because somehow or other, my mother often bought those with pokey material and frilly collars. So they were too hot and sticky for me. So I preferred to wear shorts and t-shirt. And added to this, I discovered that I run faster than most people, right? So when I was schooling in Methodist Girls' School in Brickfields, Kuala Lumpur, when people play a game called Police and Thieves, when I'm the policeman, I can catch everybody. But when I'm the thief, people cannot catch me, right? And so that was when I started, oh, I think I can run faster than most people, you know, most people, not everyone. So there began my career in track and field. And 2 years later, I was living in Kuching, Sarawak, and I started to run there. Kaki ayam at first, no shoes, because the field was too muddy. And later on, my father bought me my first pair of spikes, long grass spikes, right? And when he moved back to Peninsular Malaysia, I went to school in Asunta Secondary School, right? Not far from where you are seated, right? Now in the auditorium, not so far, maybe depending on the traffic jam, right? And over there, I would be inspired because my father hired a personal coach for me so that I could train properly in track and field. And on the same field that I used to train every week, I would spot the legendary track queens, Datuk Paduka Mumtaz Jaafar and Datuk Zaitun Osman. Also, sometimes they would drop by there and do their training. So when I was a young girl, I was inspired by all these role models that I used to read in the newspaper and watch on the television. Yep. And so from my early teens, this was how I had this kind of background. And I fought though this tomboy stereotype of sporting short hair and shorts aggressively because people always used to make all kinds of remarks at me. And so I thought, yeah, okay, let's fight the stereotype lah. Yeah, they like to stereotype me, right? Tomboy, they like to label me. So what I did was I purposely grew long hair, purposely went to find dresses to wear. And even then, people still made fun of me. They say, ayo, now so ladylike, you know, so like I can never shake off these labels, you know. Now when I look like a tomboy, they call me tomboy. When I want to look ladylike, they say, how come I want to be ladylike now? So it like never ended. And so in the end, actually, I realized it wasn't so much what we look like on the outside, or what people say we are or we are not. But what is more important is what you believe about yourself and your substance inside, yeah, that truly matters. Not just the outward appearance, yeah, but the isi lah inside. Okay. So we should embrace ourselves like 100, not 100%, but 110%. Yeah, more than anything. Growing up, I think my parents, just like some of the speakers before me, they said that their parents were key in encouraging active lifestyle and athletic pursuits. And it was the same for me. Yeah. Before I came on to speak like 10 minutes ago, I was watching the Nicole David video, right? And Nicole mentioned her parents, yeah, to being key figures who helped her and supported her. And it was the same for me. My mother was a Girl Guide and my father was a King Scout and an avid sportsman. So I grew up exposed to all manner of sport and outdoor activity in my whole life. So I represented my class, my school, my university and sports club in track and field, cross country, as well as squash and many, many other games. My father would never fail to fit me in the right sports gear, right attire, get me the coach, and he would never fail to turn up at my sports day. He would turn up and be my cheerleader, watch me from the side because he was the one who was available. My mother was a nurse, so she was too occupied in the hospital, so she couldn't come out, right? And but she supported me in that. I had also many other interesting, I had all kinds of interests, including like catching fish and tadpoles and jumping into monsoon drains and streams. So she would buy me fishing nets and all that, and I would go and catch all these fish and tadpoles, right? And so they allowed me to do all the things that I wanted to do as a young child. In Sarawak, I used to take part in the hash house harriers with my neighbors, and we would run in the jungles of Sarawak, wading across the shallow rivers, getting lost in the jungle in pitch darkness, and nobody would give me any give you chance, There's no how do you say? You have to pull your own weight because I was only 10 years old running with a group of adults in the jungle. Okay, so I had to do like everybody did. And so from this personal experience, my life kind of mirrored the findings of many research that you will, if you look up, that family culture, practices, and support are paramount to influencing a little girl's initiation and journey in leading an active and sporting lifestyle through her whole life until her senior age, like me, right? And I'm only just in the middle age, maybe 55. Geriatric is 75, right? So we must start our daughters young and early in their active lifestyle, yeah? Not just playing nowadays, you know, iPad, computer, yeah, PS2, yeah, not just on the phone, not on the iPad, but outside, you know, outdoors when it's safe, because now it's COVID, so we are very concerned about exercising outdoors in a safe environment. Okay, yeah. The other area I want to talk about is actually discovering your passion. Yeah. So I fast forward now to 2012. In 2012, I was appointed as Chief Medical Officer for Team Singapore to the London Paralympic Games. And it was a very small group of Singapore athletes, but unbeknownst to me, my whole life was going to be turned upside down, right? Yeah. I was impacted by the 19 days there, where there are 4,000 Paralympians competing from over 160 countries. And I spent any time I could that was free at the swimming pool, watching Paralympians swimming. Yeah. And I was really amazed, yeah, by how they maximize their potential in spite of all their many impairments and comorbidities, meaning illnesses. Yeah. And but my eureka moment was really in the dining hall. One day I was eating my lunch, and next to me were two athletes from China. They were born without arms, so they have no arms. It's cut off here, right, from shoulder. There's no arms. And they were seated in their chair, tilted backwards, with their 2 feet holding their knife and their fork with their big toe and their second toe, right foot and left foot. And the two of them sitting across from one another were cutting a piece of steak. And then I saw them take the steak with the fork and put it into their mouth. All right. So their foot will be at their mouth, feeding themselves. But the most amazing was not that. The most amazing was after that they had to drink water. So they put water was in a cup like this, no straw, no handle because they got no hands to hold, right? So they tilted, if this is the tabletop, they tilted the cup across like that. They hold their lips, they use their lips to hold the edge of the glass and they tilt it over the table to drink without spilling the water on the floor. I saw that and you know, I was so amazed. And that moment I thought, wow, they can do so much with what they have, you know. So we should do more with what we have, you know. Yeah, whatever you have now, don't complain. Don't say you're waiting for this and that. You must take charge of your life. Yeah. And that's what I thought to myself. So when I raised my eyes and I saw across the dining hall, blind athletes, short athletes who were short, and I thought to myself, short athletes in their wheelchair, athletes with their crutches, and I thought, wow, the only person who is abnormally normal is me. I'm the only one with 2 eyes, 2 hands, 2 feet, 2 legs, you know. Everybody else in this room now, at this moment that looking at me, is all has got some impairment. And so who's the abnormal one? Me lah. I'm the abnormal one. Everybody is normal and they can all look at me and say, hey, that one's abnormal, you know? Yeah. And so from that moment, I thought, oh, you know, it doesn't really matter lah. What is it? Actually, people are still people, just that you got 2 eyes, I got no eyes, I got 1 ear, you got no ear. And that's all, you know, that's all it is. And from that moment, I became a parasport fan and a parasport fanatic, okay? And so I've been fueling my passion ever since. And so for the rest of the 10 minutes I'm going to speak, I'll be speaking on this area, okay? Because one of the areas is disability, special needs and disability, right? So my lesson is that, you know, what is most important to you is what you do with what you have, yeah? And disability often is inside our mind rather than in the physical, right? It's all inside our head. And find your passion and you will never need to work another day because work becomes play and play becomes work, right? So after this, I went back to Singapore in 2012 and I started to look at the situation in the hospital and the community. And I found there's lots of room to grow to support people and families with special needs. So because I'm a sports physician, I thought, exercise is medicine. So I began to share about what I saw in London like a crazy person, you know. Anybody who will listen, I will go and speak. Right? And I search, ask around, and I network with many people in this sector so that I can learn about sports and special needs and to educate myself. Yeah, because I didn't know that much. Okay. I knew some, but I didn't know enough. Yeah, I know about taking care of the team, but I didn't know many things about the sector. And so I started to find like-minded people like me who felt the same way to introduce sports as a rehabilitation tool as well as to unlock the hidden potential of sporting talent, right? Um, so so all of a sudden, it's as if the universe started moving, you know. I started getting, I got invitations and opportunities to serve in the Paralympic Committee at home and as well as to the International Paralympic Committee. So I just seized these opportunities and started to grow in the area of anti-doping in sports, which is how I serve IPC at the Rio and Pyeongchang Paralympic Games. And so over there, I meet wheelchair athletes who are just amazing, you know, wheelchair athletes, amputee athletes, who are not just athletes. After retire, they get married, they have children, run their own business. And one of them is my very good friend who's a Polish Paralympian gold medalist and world champion in cross-country skiing and biathlon. Yeah. Now, her name is Kate Rogowick, and she challenged my thinking, even about how we view people with special needs. She was 3 years old, and she's lived in the farm in the countryside in Poland. And what happened was, as a 3-year-old, she was walking around and crawling around on in the grass, tall grass, okay, hidden in the grass. So her father didn't know she was there, and he cut the grass, and he cut off her arms by accident. So she has no arms from, one is below elbow, one is above elbow. So she has no arms from the age of 3 years old. So what did she do? Today, she's a Paralympic champion, she's a mother, she's a businesswoman, she's a motivational speaker, she's so many things, right? And she told me that she never felt that she was special when she was growing up as a little girl without arms. Because in the villages, in the farm, in the countryside, people just took her as she is. She only felt stigmatized when she went to the city and people started treating her special. She just wanted to be normal. She didn't want to be special. Yeah. And that really got me thinking, you know, yeah, because she's fiercely independent and able to do many things by herself. In fact, she only asked us to help her do something for herself only when she wants to open the Coca-Cola can, because it's a bit difficult because she got no fingers, right? And then she needs your assistance. Otherwise, Kate does everything for herself, including packing a 20-kilo suitcase and pulling it out of her hotel onto the tour bus. Yeah, I've seen her do that. Right? It's just amazing. So all these things taught me that, you know, we need to learn from everybody constantly all the time and leverage on every opportunity that is given to us in a strategic manner. Right? Back in 1984, I was interviewed for a place in a medical school, and I was asked if I would continue working as a medical doctor if I got married. In this day and age, any interviewer is not allowed to ask such a question because it's discriminatory. Okay, yeah. But as it were, I did end up managing to get a place in medical school. And in my class, only 20% of people were women. 80% were men. So for every clinical group, we had 6 or 7 men and 1 or 2 girls. Right? That was how I was raised in the environment that I was in medical school. Okay. But today, in National University of Singapore and Duke NUS, more than 50% of the intake is female. And how did this happen? It's because in the late 90s, I was invited to be part of a pro-tem committee of the Association of Women Doctors, led by a prominent hand surgeon, Dr. Kanwaljit Stoin. She was also a nominated member of parliament, and we worked hard to abolish this female quota. So today, we have more women than men in our medical school. All right, and as a result, we have more women doctors around the place as well. Okay, yeah, and at the same time, because of my involvement in elite sport and especially elite hockey, and I have to thank my late mentor, my mentor who passed away recently. Her name is Annabelle Pennyfather. She was a lawyer, and she was one of the prominent people in sports law. And I know we have someone who's a dragon boat captain in Malaysia who's a sports lawyer, right? She was the winner of the IOC Women in Sport Trophy of Asia in 2005. And she opened the doors for me to start to serve in the medical commission of the International Hockey Federation at the global level. So having been surrounded by so many role models in leadership and service, I found myself doing similarly, leveraging on my professional background to key it forward and to grant access to other people because I have been blessed and given opportunity as well by others. And mind you, it's others, not just women who gave me opportunity. Many, many men gave me opportunity. Yeah. I'm raised in a meritocratic society. Um, I lead my department. Quite a few of the senior doctors in my department are male, right? When I have been chief medical officer many, many times for our Malaysian contingent. Yeah. The CDMs I serve have been men and women. Yeah. So as long as you can do your job properly, professionally, yeah, carry your own weight, there's no need to have any discount for women. You earn your keep, right? I think so. Yeah. Just earn your keep and do your best. Yeah. And earn people's respect as a person first. Yeah. Right. And so I took that and I helped to organize Singapore's first women and girls and sports seminar from a health perspective, and then a women in sport conference, all this in the 90s. And 20 years later, fast forward today, better late than never. Yeah, we want to do it, but do it soon, sooner the better, but late also never mind. Yeah, we get it, we still can get it done. And so 20 years later, and it has always been Annabelle Pennyfather's dream, we formed the Women in Sport Committee of the SNOC to represent women and girls in sport in Singapore and to lead and to serve the community in this area. The members of the committee comprise 9 women and 1 male, 1 man, very sturdy man, yeah, and he's a great supporter of ours. And many of these, our members are passionate, current or retired elite athletes. Although I must qualify that they continue to be involved in the sporting environment in some form or other, some at a very high level. Okay, so at present we are working on a few projects. One of them being Safe Sport. Safe Sport defined as an athletic environment that is respectful, equitable, and free from all forms of harassment and abuse. And so the lessons from this section is that, you know, we don't wait for things to happen. You know, there's a phrase called if it's going to be, it's up to me. Yeah, so we will stand up and lead, right? And grant access to other girls and women just as others have granted access to us, yeah, including men who have granted access to us, right? And the last part of my sharing is really about giving to others, yeah, where people, passion, service, and need come and merge together and converge. Yeah, people, passion, service, need. And so till this day, I'm not sure from whom I learned in early life, not to wait for things to happen, but to dare to take courage, step forward, and be accountable. And this includes defending or standing up for the weaker, the marginalized, the underprivileged. Yeah, even though that person may be just a timid little boy on my school bus being bullied by another boy, right? And that was when I was 8 years old. It was in Kuala Lumpur. And I remember I was going home from Brickfields School back to Overseas Union Garden in Klang Road, right? And they were both fighting on the bus. And I decided I had enough of it. This boy bullying the little timid boy. So I stepped in and I started boxing the fella. And what happened was he pulled my hair, boxed me. And the only reason why we stopped was because our whole school bus toppled into the longkang, which is called the drain. And so we stopped fighting, right? So, you know, some of these characteristics, we don't know where we picked them up from, you know? Yeah. So I thought, okay, so that may be part of my character from 8 years old. So having shared with you for the last 15 minutes about how I grew up, I said, all right, so we take everything together, you know, because our life is like a canvas. How do we want to draw it? Yeah, you are the artist, yeah? How will we want to draw it? So taking all this together that I've shared, I got together with a female sports physiotherapist in my department in Khoo Teck Puat Hospital. And because she loved children, and I have this para-fanatic mindset, right? Plus being a doctor, plus being an exercise medicine physician. So I kind of put everything together. I said, okay, how about we start this group called Play Buddy, right? Yeah. So Play Buddy. And what is Play Buddy? Play Buddy is a volunteer-driven sports playgroup for children with varying physical impairment. And our only end in mind was to introduce sports to foster a healthy lifestyle in each child, outdoors, and in the community. Because from Monday to Friday, they are in special school. So Saturday, their brothers and sisters got piano class, violin class, mathematics tuition, but they have nothing except therapy. They only go for therapy, right? Yeah. So what would they have? So we started Play Buddy, and every Saturday we meet together and play outdoors. And every 4 to 6 weeks, we will change the sports from T-ball, tag rugby, T-ball, swimming, tennis. And I would get athletes to come and participate. If they are free, they will also come and help us do. For example, the Singapore national rugby team, the women's team, they come and organize tag rugby with us. So I use I leverage on my network and get everybody to do contribution, right? And so we start, and so for the last 4 years, we've grown to become what we are today. And during this COVID period, we have evolved, all right? For the last 4 years, we have evolved from just one child we started with to when we have a big party, including our volunteers, we have almost 100 people, right? But on average, every week, we have around 35 to 45 to 50 people coming together, including parents, grandparents, helper, caregiver, brothers and sisters, as well as the special child. Right.
That is interesting, Doctor. Because actually we kind of like run out of time, but I'm pretty sure that your sharing, we can actually continue in Q&A session.
No problem, no problem. We can carry on.
Because from the way...
We'll talk about COVID.
Yeah, the way I listen from the essence that I can get from you is Dr. Teo is a very someone who champion inclusivity, special needs of athletes, and she's been doing that for years. So it's something that I'm pretty sure later on, we in fact have a lot of questions about special need athletes from our previous session, and I'm pretty sure that a lot of them have more questions to ask to you towards the end of the session, right? So we've already listened from doctor's perspective, someone who already seasoned, know her things, being involved from the beginning of the time, changing the landscape of involvement of athletes in Singapore as well. So right now, what I'm about to bring you is someone who actually have no such involvement in decision making, or in fact, she don't really hold a position in any body, but rather represent the reality of what's going on in Malaysia. So with that, I bring you Nurin Afika. Please be with us on stage. Please welcome Nurin with us today. She's so pretty. I think her beauty radiates into the room. We can all feel that. So Nurin Afika, please have a seat. So I'll call you Nurin. Yeah. Okay, all right. So Nurin is a Malaysian Zumba instructor and social media star who gained fame for her Instagram account. You can check her Instagram after this. You can earn Zumba class from there, yes. All right, so she has also earned massive popularity for her casual chic fashion modeling, often involving hijab and lifestyle photo. So she is what we call as reality of Malaysia today, where people always go to social media, instead of someone, we used to have like those artists who sing a song, become a role model, right? But we actually have someone who actually Zumba instructor already become a role model in Malaysia. It's actually a big milestone. And for me, I am so eager, I'm pretty sure all of you would want to know, how did she get started? How do you, why? Why are you in this? Why are you doing this? And I understand she actually earned a degree in Bachelor in Economics, right? And you're currently pursuing Master as well?
Sorry. Currently no, because I'm running my own business. So I don't think I have time for that yet.
I see. It's okay. You can continue that later. Yeah. All right. So over to you. If you can share with us your experience, how did you get started? And 20 minutes. Over to you.
Hello everyone. Assalamualaikum. Good morning. Morning. Is it morning yet? Okay. Almost afternoon. My name is Nurin. I'm 24 years old. This year, I just turned 24. Still young, I know, but not so lah for me, kan. All right. First of all, I will say thank you so much for inviting me. At first, I was like, macam, why would this kind of symposium would like to have me on board? Because I'm not specialized. I'm not a specialist in any sports, but I do play a lot of sports. Thanks to my dad, I think he went outside, is it? He was around. He came just to support me. Yeah, he was the reason why I'm here. So he's about to come in.
Father of the year.
Woo! Okay, nari baru kutuk ayah tadi. Alright, anyway, can I stand up?
Yeah, please.
Okay. Somehow standing up makes me even more confidence because usually kalau I give any speech, I would stand up. So it gives me like less nervous. So yeah. Alright, so first, I would start on how did I became a Zumba instructor. It was all because of my dad. It's not because my dad teach me Zumba, but my dad specialized in sport. He's a gym freak. Like he went to the gym almost every single day. Like rarely you see him at home in the evening. Like if you want to contact him, you cannot contact him in the evening because you can't reach him. So it was started because I think 1 year old pun I dah start go to the gym with him. He always bring me to the gym and then he exposed me and my siblings to sports. So we play a lot of sports. I started with, what did I start? I think martial arts, taekwondo. And then he sent me to silat. And then he sent me to aikido. And then swimming. And then gymnastics. So I play a lot of sports, but I did not specialize in any of it. And what I really can say is that I betul-betul what I really love about sport is gymnastics. I think one of our speaker is former gymnast and rhythmic gymnastics. So saya cakap lah, in a lot of sports that I did, I really love gymnastics. But then when I want to pursue, I think kalau I betul-betul excel in sports, I would excel in gymnastics. But because of the restriction as a woman with hijab, and my parents does not really allow me to, expose our body because of the religion part. So I started just young, and then I did some of the basic foundation in gymnastics. And then kalau I don't have time to practice, I cannot go, I would just YouTube it. During my early young age, I just YouTube it and I follow all the instructions in YouTube. And I would just like do at home and sampai I pernah terkehil leher, but my parents doesn't know. Now you know. My parents doesn't know that I actually terkehil kepala. But I just pretend that everything was all right because I'm so damn into gymnastics. Yeah, but then I cannot go to the training because of, we used to train in gymnastics gym, but then like ada campur with guys and everything, so I cannot do that. All right, so it all started there lah, gymnastics and then all this martial arts, and we went to swimming. And then I love to dance. And then I do gymnastics and I freaking love to dance. So, and then again, my parents wouldn't allow me because on the religion part. I love to dance. None of my family members know how to dance. Even Ayah, he is so kayu. Like even we ask him to do aerobic, but he won't do it because he's so that keras, So I love to dance. My mom doesn't dance. None of our family members actually know how to dance. So, and my interest in sports, at the same time fitness, and I love to dance. That's when I found out about Zumba because I always follow my dad to go to the gym. So gym has this aerobic room where they practice aerobics. That was before Zumba actually known in Malaysia because it started, I think, in Singapore or Indonesia first, then baru dia masuk Malaysia. All right, so I started follow his students to go for aerobics and everything. And then I learned Zumba over there. And I said like, Zumba ni dia macam comprises of two things. It's fitness and also dance. Who has done Zumba here? Oh, very much. Okay, a lot of you guys. So you guys love Zumba. You guys what, mix or ladies only? Mix. But I want to ask you guys, like, if you do Zumba, do you prefer to have guys with you? No, right? Yeah, that's why. So I have this problem where if I want to do Zumba, I want to be free. What I meant by free is I wanted to open my tudung. Because that is the only time that I can show my, my body goals, time-time tu lah kita nak tunjuk result. Because back then, I used to be a bit chubby. Kalau you nampak sekarang, this is because the result that I dah work out for many, many years. But before this, I used to be chubby. And I love to eat donuts. But then I started to learn on the food intake, I learned a diet. This is all coming from my own. Macam my dad, he loves to work out. Tapi dia suka makan. Tapi I cepat naik. Because guys, dia susah naik. Betul tak? So in women, dia macam cepat naik. So in my case, I have to take care of my food intake and then fitness. So Zumba, back to Zumba story. So masa I tahu pasal Zumba ni, and then I actually learned from my dad student that if you want to be a Zumba instructor, you have to go to their training and buy the certificate. So by buying the certificate, it requires money. And by that time, I don't have any money because I'm a student. So I studied in International Islamic University in UIA. So I had no money. Basically, my parents would just give me the money, and that Zumba certificate cost me 2,500 ringgit. For me, at that time, that was a lot of money, But then I was like, how do I want this money, But then my parents won't allow me. Dia macam tak support sangat lah. So dulu lah, sekarang support ya kan? Sekarang support kan? Boleh lah. So dulu they are not that supportive because yelah Zumba, the menari apa semua, especially my mom. So I macam mana, how do I find this kind of money? So back then I had a boyfriend. I had a boyfriend who really supportive towards me. So he lent me the money. He said, I give you 3,000 ringgit. You do whatever you want. Because I'm so into Zumba. And I want to be a Zumba instructor because I love to be on stage. And and then I cakap, kenapa I cakap I nak jadi Zumba instructor? Because back when I was a student, and if I go to any Zumba classes, tak ada seorang pun around my age. Tak ada seorang pun. At least above 30. You pernah tengok any youngsters in Zumba classes tak? Rarely. This is because they don't really macam practice all this fitness. Usually all these elderly je yang rasa kesedaran, yang kita baru nak sedar, kita kena sihat. Macam tu, biasalah kan. So I wanted to become a Zumba instructor because I want to change all these youngsters punya perception that actually fitness is really important, and don't do it just because you only realize. Do it because you love it. So that's why I jadi macam nak sangat. So my boyfriend dulu bagi I pinjam duit for 3,000 ringgit and he said, do whatever you want. And then I do the certifications. 2016, I ambil certification, and that's how I became a Zumba instructor. No worries, and now he is my ex. So, okay lah ya kan? Dah jadi ex, tak apa.
Big investment lepas tu ni Woman
power. Woman power. Kita tak apa, kita ambil duit, dia bagi pinjam, lepas tu kita jadikan ex. Tak adalah. Nah lah, I'm just kidding. But truly, yeah, he is my ex right now. So yeah, and I took that money as an opportunity for me to grow, because for me 3,000 ringgit is a really big money, because as a student kan, you 100 ringgit pun you rasa banyak. And then when I had that money, I was able to pay him back 2 months after, because I did non-stop of Zumba, because one Zumba classes you are able to get 100 ringgit. Imagine you have to memorize 20 songs per class, 20 songs, 20 movement for 100 ringgit only. It was actually sikit lah, tapi that was the market price. So I had to go through. And back when I was studying, I still did that Zumba. So I did class 8:30 in the morning until 4 p.m. in the evening. My class was in Gombak. And then I go all the way to Shah Alam just to do the classes. So Gombak 4 p.m., I go back to Shah Alam, 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. Zumba class number 1, 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. Zumba class number 2, 10 p.m. I go back to my Gombak. That's how my routine is every single day. So my dad pun cakap, Nuri ni tak lekat rumah. Nak buat macam mana? That's how I find the money. That's a struggle lah. So masa I start buat Zumba, a lot of people does macam these youngsters, dia tak tahu what Zumba is all about. Because they think that Zumba is actually menari sahaja. But it is actually not. Because every movement that we did in Zumba, okay, I bagi tu the definition of Zumba is actually to get crazy. But in the reality is that every movement that we did as an instructor, we did it with a meaningful movement. Macam contoh, I put it over here. Every time kalau I start my class, I can cakap, kalau I angkat tangan, you have to angkat tangan sebiji macam I. Because if I do it like this and you do it just, so there's no muscle that is actually moving. And you're not practicing any muscle. So that's why if I do squats, I will teach them on how to properly do the squats. All right? So in this topic, I am more into a Zumba and that not really into sports lah, but I'm actually encouraging and empowering, influencing all these youngsters because they are our next generation. And then knowing that and then I became an influencer, a social media influencer. Who is familiar with the word influencer over here?
I guess I'm young enough.
So, okay, do you guys have Instagram? I think most of you guys play with Facebook or Instagram. So I hate Facebook more.
If you're young enough, please stay Instagram.
So yeah, they play with a lot of Facebooks. But for myself, in our part, the youngsters love to play more on Instagram. And now that we have TikTok, it is a really powerful engagement over there. So Instagram as a social media influencer, for those who doesn't know what social media influencer is, they call it influencer to those who have large number of followers. So all these large number of followers, they call us influencer as a key opinion leaders. So if I work with the brands, I am like a key messenger to the brands. I tell them about the brands so that when I talk about the brands, they want to buy whatever I buy or I use. That is the word influencer. So they actually, now that I became an influencer and they know that I am a Zumba instructor, which differentiate me with all other influencers. Because all these other influencers, to be honest, I have a lot of friends, influencers. They are all about beauty, makeup, skincare, fashion. They are all about that. But not many of them focuses more on healthy. And that's where I became a person who is, I say, a role model for all youngsters out there. Because many people actually, kalau I give any talk to any universities or anything, the main concern of them is that their confidence, their body appearance, and their body appearance and also physical appearance and also their what do I say? Appearance lah. Mostly is the appearance. They feel more insecure because how do I say it? They feel insecure because it's from the inside. It doesn't matter even though you wear a 3-inch makeup, a lot of skincare, but if you don't practice your mind, you won't be able to look more confident and beauty in your own. Because it all started from you. If you think about what other people think of you, and that is going to be really hard. That's why you have to practice it. And I encourage them, in order for you to start from your heart, your mind, it's where you do the fitness. Because for me, fitness, I just feel say fitness or sports, yeah? fitness or sport helps you to encourage you, give you more confidence. I feel more confidence when I do my workout. Whenever I feel down, because I'm running my own business, whenever I feel down, I will always go for running. I don't eat. Because eating makes me macam rasa more demotivated. But instead, I do a lot of workout. So I think one of the reasons how do I change this perception towards youngsters is that I help them, encourage them to do fitness by joining my Zumba fitness. So I do now that I just started. I just initiate this program under my own brand, where we give once a month free pass access to Zumba events, and it's not just gonna be Zumba. So siapa yang nak follow nanti, you guys boleh follow adik with my journey. We're gonna have not only Zumba, we're gonna have a fitness session that comprises a lot of workout. Contohnya ada body combat, ada Tabata, ada yoga, ada Pilates, Zumba. It's gonna be everything under one event. And then that event mainly is for ladies only. So my kind of event, because I myself pun rasa insecure of guys out there, because people always think macam kita perempuan kan kita gelek sikit. Sometimes the guys macam you know lah kan. So because of that, I initiated this program once a month that I sendiri yang handle. Ladies only, where we only take videos or photos for only 10 minutes. And after that, everyone will open. Semua buka. So masa itulah you boleh jadi free. Sebab kalau takkan you pakai tudung, you sendiri tak jaga your own appearance, apa dia, if you don't feel confidence. But when you open, you just be free, like you with the music, you let the music in, you just forget about everything, just dance. Just enjoy the moment. And when you start that, whatever you do in your life next, that coming after this, it doesn't matter. Because you have the basic foundation. You have the basic strength. So contoh, let's say you need to help people, carry people. It will be no problem at all after that. Because I differentiate myself with my friend who does not work out compared to me. I can do more than what she can do. Because I have the basic foundation. Maybe I do not specialize in any workout. Macam I said, I love to excel in gymnastics, but I do have the basic of gymnastics. And for me, bila I bought the basic gymnastics, that was the first sports that I did. After that, I do go swimming, karate, aikido, taekwondo, whatever not I did, I can do it. Because why? I do have the basic gymnastics. Because gymnastics actually help me in terms of flexibility and also strength. And when you have these two, you can excel to many, many, many sports. Because all sports require flexibility, isn't it? So that's why it is really important for you guys to macam exercise regularly. Macam I myself, I don't have time. Because people always give like, tak ada masa lah, penat lah. But as myself, as a business owner, that I do business and I work till late night, 12 a.m., 1 a.m. But every day at my house, in my room, I will always at least spend 1 hour home workout, even though it is late night. Macam my dad said, it's not healthy for you to do late night. But for me, it is better for you to do something at least rather than nothing. Right? Because that's how I keep myself going. If I don't do workout, I akan rasa susah untuk I move forward. Untuk I jadi lagi more active. And if myself is not healthy, how do I help people, macam nak encourage more people if I myself pun tak rasa sehat dekat diri sendiri, you know? I can cakap bahasa Inggeris je ke?
It's okay, it's okay.
I takut lah kan. Yeah, that is all macam what I'm trying to say lah. Because macam nak cakap sports, I think all of the audience kat sini semua main sports ke? Specialize in sports ke? Tak kan? tak apa. For me, it is okay. Macam at this age, I think it's too late dah kan. Cik. Tak apa, it's never too late. But what I'm trying to say is that try to start now by having at least a little bit of basic home workout. It doesn't have to be you have to go to the gym. Because myself pun, I tak ada masa. But home workout is actually your life savior. And then as a woman yang dah kahwin ataupun belum kahwin, bila you work out, your partner will actually lagi nampak, you more nampak glowing lah. It's actually part of self-love. And self-love actually reflects your mental health as well. You will feel good about yourselves. You akan rasa macam you can achieve anything in this world and no one can stop you. So basic, before I end, I just want to give you a basic, because I punya topik ni lain daripada yang lain sikit. So basic home workout that I did every single day, and I swear to God, I did not lie. As a young woman, I buat kat social media pun, this is how I train people. Basic home workout yang malas, ini tahap yang malas atas level ni. So apa yang I buat is every single day, kita berus gigi berapa kali?
Tak berus gigi ke semua?
Itulah, tak berus gigi ke semua? Berapa? 3 kali, betul. Pagi, kalau I lah, pagi, petang dan malam. Sebab I tak boleh 2 kali, pening kepala kan. Nak cakap dengan orang tak selesa.
Lain macam.
Lain macam, betul. So what I did, the basic home workout is things that you do every single day. Contoh, berus gigi. Lagi everyday you buat apa? Mandi. Makan. So these 3 things I buat because I fikir tak, I cari how do I make things my habit every single day. So kita tak akan boleh lari daripada makan, berus gigi dan mandi. So you take all these 3 to do your basic home workout. So I ajar you how ya. It's very simple, you can start. And I ajar this kat social media influencer, dekat social media, and a lot of my followers actually did that and it works like magic. I'm not lying, okay? It's not, dia takkan, it's not like very high intensity. So apa I buat is I brush gigi while I do squats, at least 20 sets. Squats, okay? Squats. Tapi ramai yang okay, kena squats ni malu lah nak tunjuk sekarang kan, cik.
Yeah, you can follow her on social media and see how she do squats.
Yeah, I do have a video of that. So squats dia macam focus on the back kan, on the butt. Tapi myself, I rasa I will understand you guys yang perempuan dia concern is peha, betul tak? Peha kan? I rasa biggest peha lepas tu pipi. Kan? Peha, pipi, perut. Betul tak?
I concerned about everything.
These 3P is the biggest concern of women. So I tak suka buat squat because squat makes my I actually thigh ni I buat experiment on myself thigh dengan my butt's bigger. Tapi what I did is a side squat macam tu. So I buat benda ni 1, 2 is one side. Bila I buat every single day, kita berus gigi 3 kali kan. So you do that every single day for 3 times, you won't feel it. It's just 20, you know? Like berus gigi, 20. You won't feel it. Alright? It's okay. Memang boleh. So when you start doing that, it's actually very good. Korang akan nampak. You just try it and you let the organizer know where you punya result after that. It works like magic. I'm not lying because it is proven. Ini tak ada ubat, tak ada apa. Ini memang original punya. Macam tu. Okay, the second one is that, sorry, I lupa nak cakap. The second one is that I buat before I go to sleep is I buat leg raise. This is, siapa kat sini tak pernah tidur? Alright, semua tidur. So apa yang I buat is that I do my leg raise. Tahu kan leg raise macam mana? Angkat kaki,
yeah, you can Google. You don't want her to lay flat on the ground and do leg raise, right?
Alah, tak apa, you boleh YouTube saja. All these 3 exercises memang it works like magic lah, I cakap kat you. So the leg raise you boleh YouTube saja. I buat, okay, for those yang tak biasa, you boleh buat 50 repetition. Maybe you can start 20 and then 50. Macam I myself, I buat 100 every day before I go to bed. This is, I swear to God, I did every single day and I'm not lying. So bila you buat benda tu, masa tu lah you boleh nampak you punya result in terms of your flat tummy. Memang jadi. Ini malas punya workout.
Macam dah jadi beauty class dah kita.
Yes, kan? And the last one that I did is last one ni before I go to shower. Ini I tahu some of them tak boleh buat lah, tapi myself I buat, I do handstand. Handstand sebab I nak cepat peluh sebab my house tak ada heater. So sejuk nak mandi. So I do handstand. Tapi bukan handstand yang handstand. I rely on the wall. Yes. Kalau yang tak boleh buat handstand, it's okay. Buat plank sahaja. Alright? So these 3 plank, side squat dengan leg raise. Boleh start? Sukalah. Boleh pergi kelas Zumba kan? Nanti join kelas Zumba tau. Yes, woman power. Alright.
Okay.
I think that is all from me. I hope you will benefit from the tips that I gave. I just give my experience and things that really work on me and other people. And I hope you guys can follow too as well. All right,
Thank you, Nurin. That's a very interesting. I've never seen someone actually do a demo of workout on stage during Symposium. She'll be the first one, and that's what we call as girl power. But I, when you were talking, a lot of actually ladies out there are fangirling you. I'm pretty sure that if you check your Instagram now, mungkin number that increase. Well, it's interesting because as you can see, we always have Symposium where it's going to be in a very serious kind of manner, where the topic we talk is more on a heavy side. But purposely for this Women in Sports Symposium, we also want to portray that for those that not taking sports in a very serious manner to take it into a professional level, sports is something that you should do as part of your lifestyle, just like what she did. And yes, taking care of your body will also bring out more confidence in you. I should start exercising too. You will see me follow you after this. Everybody was excited. I'm actually scared when you say you want to do leg raise. I'm scared that some of us will actually lay flat and do it together with you. And now we're going to turn this into a room workout session already. All right, so we've already seen from a perspective of a doctor and also from an influencer, something that happened on the ground, whatever that happened in the society today. We're going to bring you another prominent figure in Malaysia. She is so famous, literally famous. When I mentioned her name to my parents, they were so excited and I was like fangirling all over again. All right, so we're going to bring you Associate Professor Dr. Farahani Imran. She is currently Associate Professor, Head of Plastic Surgery, Burn Unit and Wound Care Team, Senior Lecturer and Consultant Plastic Surgery in University Kebangsaan Malaysia. She does a lot of things, and I kid you not, she is the epitome of, I would say, strong woman, perfect kind of thing, because she balanced the academic, research, clinical, public hospital workloads. In fact, she's still involved in sports till today, right? She brought honor to Malaysia as a pioneer in national rhythmic gymnast. We bring you the real gymnast here today, yeah? We have someone who actually doing beginner. We have someone who are already, gymnast is part of me. And we also, she is actually, she is the first Malaysian to reach world championships among multiple national and international sports accolades. Her multiple other firsts, just talking about her first, her first Malaysian to receive the Constable Fellowship Award from American Association of Plastic Surgeons, USA, Association of Graduates Medal from the Royal College of Surgeons in Ireland. She is also FIFA Women World Cup by FIFA, and first Malaysian former national athletes to reach Surgical Associate Professor. This is amazing. And her World Young Woman Achiever of the Year. So many firsts. It's in the bio book. I mean, if I'm going to read it, I'm going to... So many things. She is, I think, she's the one who paved the way for a lot of girls like me who actually, fangirling her since young. So without further ado, let me welcome Prof. Farah on stage with us today.
Thanks. Generator.
All right.
Are you sure she can sit down because you'd be so bored?
Okay, so
Good talk. You want to go hang out downstairs? So you'd be so bored up here.
Okay, so we will just leave the stage for you.
No, you stay on. Wait, up to you guys. Nice talk. Well done. Yeah, well done. Okay. Why don't you have a seat? Because I like to walk around too.
Okay, I'll just let you walk around.
Thank you.
I'll just be there.
It's okay.
All right.
Thank you. Okay. All right. So I think you guys have had the Silver Tsunami by Dr. Teo. Then you have Nurin, right? Nurin, and then I'm kind of in the middle. All right. So I'm not being rude, but this is where I keep my notes because we have to think of the environment. So all my notes are here. So I'm not texting people while I'm talking to you guys. So first of all, can I say thanks to Funit? She's doing a great job, isn't she? Let's give a big hand for Funit. Wow. Funit said it very nicely. She said, her parents knew who I was. So that is my life, ladies and gentlemen. People's parents know who I am. Nurin's generation has no clue what I've done for this country. Those of you here, you do know what I've done because you are all Penjawat Awam, you are government servants. So some of you have some idea what I've done for the country since I was a child until now. Still working in the public hospital, serving the nation with love, okay? But with a very small salary. Big love, but small salary, okay? All right, so before I start, I just would like to, you can't do things like this without acknowledging the people behind it. So can we all seriously give a big hand to Dr. Vela? Okay, because I've known this guy for some time, and he's one of the people where if he says, Doc, we need, he didn't call me Prof lah. He said, Doc, we need you. I said, can, for you anytime. And now, because I know I trust him, I now also trust Hamiza and Dee. So Hamiza, Dee, and the IRS family, well done, because they have to coordinate everybody behind. I want to say a special clap for Nurin's dad. Where's Nurin's dad gone? Okay, I have to say, because the reason is because everybody knows what it's like to go to toilet halfway, and the moment you enter back the lecture hall, everybody's like, Dia datang. You know, everyone's like, whoa, big hall, and you're like, why is there a big applause for me coming in? So, fair play to you, you didn't freak out. You knew your daughter was saying something about you, lah. Okay, so well done, Nurin's daddy. I apologize, I'm not cheerful. Those of you who know me very well, you know I'm a very bubbly person. Shima is here from ISN. I've got a couple of very close friends in the audience. My mom is not very well. In fact, I've not slept for the last 2 nights and yesterday, and that's why I have a very bad hair day. Okay? My hair is usually a bit more hot and sexy than this, but this is the best that I could do today, okay? After being under an operating cap as well yesterday. So I hear that we have Japanese people. I think Dr. Teo had mentioned that we have Japanese people turning in. So are we looking at, sorry Funit, are we looking at this camera for the online people? I'll just look here, okay, I'm getting this. So, ohayou gozaimasu, genki desu ka? Watashi wa Hami-san. I used to do Shinpaiso with Nihon no Kochi, all right? And to the Filipino fam, mabuhay. And Singaporeans, no need lah, we are the same. It's just that you fellas say sia, we say la. Okay, but we're the same. So today's session, in 20 minutes, the brief given and the questions given, there is no way to cover in 20 minutes. So I was thinking, what is the best way to do this to you, and to be fair to those of you who are here and to whoever's online, is basically to talk about mindset. Maybe we share thoughts, and in 20 minutes you can't cover a lot. So I'm going to do a bit of surgery where I incept ideas. I will tanam or plant some ideas with you. You ingest, you digest, okay? And then it won't happen today. Maybe tomorrow when you're having a shower, you'll be like, oh, that's what Farah was talking about. Oh, that's what Dr. Farah was talking about. Tengah kat toilet, halfway doing a number 2, you know? Oh, that's what Prof. Farah was talking about. You see, I went from Farah, Dr. Prof. See? So, you see, the point is, whatever I talk to you today, please, whatever I say to you, let it just, we say in English, you know, let it just engulf you like a big hug. Now COVID cannot hug, you know? So I'll give you, the words will hug you. So let it be absorbed by your mind, etc. Now, the topic given was how to be a catalyst, but so what I'm going to do is get you to know yourself, get you to understand yourself, and then only you can help others, then only you can empower others. Basically, it's how you can be a catalyst, okay? You need to first of all understand there are 3 big groups when you talk about women in sports or sports in general, women in sports, men in sports. 3 main groups. Number 1 is active elite athletes. These are the panelists of the next session, etc., people who have who are just actively training. They get paid to wake up, go to train, go for competitions, eat, sleep, go back to sleep. Their bills are most of the time looked after by various sports councils. We can talk to Dr. Teo and Dina, I don't know if she's around about this, but basically, elite active athletes, their commitment is to the country. And then you have the second group, the retired high-level athletes. Those of you who are in government service or any of you at home watching, the retired elite athletes, that's a different set of mental game, different sort of mental health. And then you have the major group, which is what most of us are, well, I'm actually the second group, but the big group is recreational athletes, which is why you had the second speaker here today, among a whole bunch of different athletes, was because we need to acknowledge that there needs to be a recreational athlete group, which needs to be empowered, okay? Dr. Teo mentioned labels. So you guys looking at me here, that everybody has stereotypes, right? Everybody would have stereotypes. Some of you know me, like I said, some of you don't. So one of the main labels, I'm going to give you a series of labels that I get. I am now 42 years old. Hey, alamak, I'm still wearing my sunglasses. Sorry, very rude. Chair. So I've been married for some time. I have no kids. I'm quite happy enough with that. But we did try because we all know in Asian culture, if you're a woman and you're married for more than 1 minute, you already must have baby, right? So I've been married for about 10 years. So after 10 years, I haven't had 10 babies lah, you know, unlike some of my friends and some of your friends also, I know lah. Because rumah tak ada astro, at home no cable TV or Netflix, so they have to produce offspring to make life worth it, all right? So I get a lot of crap because, or a lot of flack because I don't have kids. Married without kids, all right? So I get a lot of, oh, Dr. Farah, you're so pretty like white girl, but then your husband also white man. If you have children, they be so handsome and pretty. I said, then can you please talk to God? You have a direct conversation, then let that come through my body and my ovaries and let's see what happens, okay? So far, although I'm a medic, I know what complications come with any artificial means of, I won't say artificial, but other means which is not natural. So my hubby and I, we're fine. Instead, I get a lot of this. Wow, you're very lucky you married a white man because he's okay with you not having babies. Hello. I mean, that's nothing to do with ethnicity or race, okay? You marry a good person, whether you marry a good wife or good husband, that should be independent of whether you want kids or not. Do you understand? I'm looking right at the camera, okay? All right? Now, number two, I get a lot of freckles, freckle face. In Malay, it's a very dirty word, jeragat. The name also you hear, it's like, jeragat, like a horror movie. In English, it's such a cutesy word, like, oh my God, look at your freckles. So I got freckles, okay? So I got freckles from my mom's side of the family. I love my mom, I love my dad. My mom, as I told you before, is not doing very well. So when I look in the mirror and I see the freckles, I know she's with me. What? So everybody got tissue, not cry, you know? But I'm telling you this is a serious thing. What you see in the mirror is a lot about what the previous speakers have spoken about, what all of you know. It's how you ingest, how you interpret what you see back. Okay, so again, I've mentioned I get no kids, no freckle, long list, no freckle face, not skinny. Last time, I have to say this in English, but first I'll say it in Bahasa to give you the full impact. Wah, dulu you ni kurus macam apa masa gymnast, sekarang sudah gemuk. Wah, gemuk, and the gemuk is like that, you know, gemuk. Wah. So, you know, you already hear, wow, I'm not so skinny. Then somebody want to hantam you, and then the third thing will come. That's why you tak ada anak. Wow, you know, it's like, you hit me once, then you hit me, then you do the upper hook, you know? So I have a very, you know Sia, the singer? I have titanium, guys. You know, okay, because you have to be titanium to deal with all this. Because some of you will be wondering when these statements come along. It happens in the hospital corridor. It happens when I'm in the lift of my hospital, minding my own business. Some machi will say, machi means an auntie. Excuse me, doctor, yes, you're very pretty, thank you. But your dot on your face, very ugly. And I'm like, seriously, you know? I'm a 40-over-year-old woman, man, and I have to just look at auntie, and I could really say something about auntie and go like, auntie, don't go there, man. But I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go, yes, auntie, thank you. It's from my mommy. I love her. Wow, really? I go, yes. Then we have a conversation about the pathophysiology of freckles, how does it happen, etc. Okay? The last thing is, I don't know if you all can see it on the camera, so I'm going to look straight at you right now. I don't know if you can tell, but I'm born with my left eyelid. When I'm really tired, it goes smaller. Those of you who've known me since I was a child in this room, you will know that. So my coach, when I used to train, if she will say, once my hair becomes very frizzy, like a fireball, and comes out, and my eye is like that, it'd be like, okay, honey has to sleep because she's too tired, she cannot function. So now I've told you I've not been up because I've had an illness in my family. So to me, this is a blessing from God. Now you might say, why? My chosen profession is I'm a plastics and reconstructive surgeon. I deal with burn victims. I deal with kiddies born with clefts. Plastic surgery is not just about getting the big boobies and the big booty, okay? Twerking in the iris, if, at the iris function, suddenly I'll get arrested. My goodness, Dr. Farah, Professor Farahani twerked at the iris stage. Okay, sorry, where's Miza? Sorry, Miza, you have to edit that out later on. So anyway, back to the pre-twerking conversation. So when I get patients coming to the clinic, patients who are scarred, or patients whose husbands are talking about leaving them because ada perut. Sekarang tak macam, it's not like when we got married. You know, you suddenly, you've got a tummy now. Your boobies are no more perky as they used to be. Can I say that word? I hope I can, You all understand. So I always say the same thing. Change your boyfriend, change your husband, don't need to change your body. All right? You change your body, yes, to get healthy. But if someone is putting an ultimatum on you, I am not going to do this with you unless you do that for me, that's not a transaction you want to be part of. That is not a healthy transaction, okay? And again, we can't talk about this in 20 minutes. I just want to put this in you, any of you who this triggers something, and I know it does because I can see your facial expressions from here, don't be afraid. But do talk to someone. I'm always around. I'm going through, again, some stuff with my mom at the moment, but maybe another session, we can have another session where we talk through stuff. So just to recap, no kids, freckle face, not skinny, i.e. fat, and ptosis is basically the eyelid. This brings me to Dr. Teo's point. Dr. Teo talked about, gymnasts usually stand like this because we do ballet. Sorry, in case you're wondering why Prof. Farah standing like that, okay? Kita ni selalu kan, so sorry lah, you just deal with it, okay? All right, so Dr. Teo mentioned two key things, okay? She talked about imperfectly perfect, and she also talked about abnormally normal. All right, all of us fall into that category. And she also highlighted, what you do with what you have is what matters. In this room alone, you have people whose parents might be Tan Sri this, Dato that. You have people whose parents are divorced from they were young. You have people whose parents maybe have been abusive, alcoholic. We all don't know each other's jalan cerita. And you don't have to know each other's jalan cerita, but you just need to know that that should never be an excuse. I'm going to say that again, especially for those in the back. That should never be an excuse. What you do, whatever you have been given with in life, you do your best without harming others, all right? And that gets to my next point about ethics, etc. I like the way where's Fanit, she gone off, but she said about concern, she said, I'm concerned about everything. Wow. When she said, what are your concern areas? So I get that a lot with my patients. So which is the areas of concern? You know la, Prof, my face, I want to tarik, my nose, I want to go this way, my eyes, I don't want sepe, I want the big, I won't go down lah because we might get censored. But basically, things need to get bigger, tighter, etc. Okay? Yeah, that all is to do with the mind. Again, like Dr. Teo, I've been quite lucky. Whatever opportunities I've had have come from both men and women. However, negativity, and I've had a lot, has also come from both men and women. And I think that's the same with everyone in this room, all right? So why am I spending time telling you all this? It's because I want you guys to know whatever stuff you're dealing with, you can replace the word stuff with the word of your choice, F up stuff, that you deal with in your life. It happens to everyone at all levels. It happened to me when I was a trainee surgeon. It happened to me when I was an athlete. It happened to me in school. I had people who didn't want to friend me because I was the MSSM champion, so they were like, oh, I don't want to friend you anymore. But they didn't say, honey, we don't want to friend you because you're MSSM champion. So, but we don't want to friend you because you are, they don't even know the difference between Punjabi and Bengali. I used to be called Anak Bengali. So I'm a mixed race person as well. I should have mentioned that. So when you're mixed race, people use that against you as well. And the people who said that was not Malay or Punjabi. It will be people who have nothing to do with my ethnicity, but they will use that against you. So it'd be the same for you guys. Or don't friend her because she's from Kelantan. They speak funny. And I've had that as well. Don't speak to Johorians, they're very fussy people. Don't speak to Perak people, is it Perak or Kedah that say yo? Basically, it's Kedah. So people find funny things. Filipinos, Japanese, Singaporeans, you all have the same thing. People have their own prejudice. But here's the secret. That's their issue. It's nothing to do with you. Only it's how you respond to it. Whatever stuff that's peaked on you in work, at home, bill tak kena bayar, your bills are not getting paid because of COVID, your husband's stressful, your husband's looking at chicks a certain way, and you're there going like, dude, I'm right here. You know, if whatever you're going through at life, just remember, it's how you're gonna digest it and deal with it, okay? There's lots of stereotypes out there. So when I was training to be a surgeon, I don't know if you know what is keyhole surgery. It's like they put, say if you need to have your tummy out, there's two keyholes, two holes instead of one big potong and everything is open. So I was training for that. It's a simulation on a machine. So beside me was a doctor from, this was overseas in a Matsale country, in a Western country, but the doctor beside me was Asian. And he was training, and then the assessor came along and said, I was doing really well. So he said, oh, you should see how Farhani's doing it. And he said, she's doing very well because she's a woman and she knows how to sew at home. So because as a surgeon, you know, we suture. So in his mind, the only reason I'm a good surgeon is because I'm a woman and at home, I sew. So again, how you respond to that, it's all up to you. I could have been like, dude, who do you think you are? I'm going to report you to this and that. No, man, let's just let it go. Because again, his drama. And then this is where I'm talking about empowerment, where I talked about men and women. The assessor, who's a man, pulled him aside and corrected him and just sort of said, look, this is not what you say to a colleague, regardless if it's male or female. But you see, it was different if he said it or I said it. Do you see the difference? Think about it and digest it. That's why if you are in a position of power, please speak up when you see something that is not right. All of you in this room, you may think you have no voice, but you do. And even at home, when you're watching, if you see something that's not right, you have to speak up. Think where it lies. It's just, you all know people get bullied at work. All of you know people get harassed. We all know in our culture, in Singapore and in Japan, you speak up and help people who cannot do that, okay? But do it diplomatically, again. I want to tell you about my mom. When I told her she was not well, and I said to Miza, I might have to come in online because it's a long journey from IJN to here and also to HUKM. My mom said, no, this is a commitment you have made. You go and, don't disappoint people. Go to the session. So you see, even my mom at that stage, she takes amanah. Amanah is a Malay word for responsibility. Would you guys say that? What's another word for amanah? Anybody? Responsibility, they think it's a bit stronger to non-Malaysians. Amanah means duty, all right? So she said, that's what you've been given, so you do it. So you can see I've been brought up with ethics, principles, and integrity the whole time. My mom and dad, my late father he passed away a few years ago. These are the kind of people, if you're pushing them around, they'll be the type, good morning, good afternoon, thank you. Nowadays, not just nowadays generation, loads of people don't bother. I ask you all, even in your own household, your children come down in the morning and you try to say, good morning, they'll be like, isn't it? I mean, I see a lot of nodding here, so it's like, what do you want to eat? You know, it's just like, can I get a word? Do you want rice? Give me 2 grunts for yes. You know? So communication is something we have to foster. Okay, so again, be very patient. This is just the way life is, but try to communicate and be respectful of others. I'm almost finishing up. I just want to say that you cannot talk about women on tracks, women in sports. You cannot talk about women in sports without talking about men in sports. That's why I'm very happy that there are some men here today. So can we give a big hand for the men in this room? So, why I have to say that is, now, for those of you watching at home, I want to tell you a little secret. These people were encouraged to come here today. They weren't forced. They were encouraged because it's part of their KPI. So they have to be here whether they want to or not, okay? But they could have all walked outside and had oxygen. They could have walked outside for teh tarik. They could have walked outside for Milo. No advertisements. Nobody's paying me anything. But they are actually choosing to physically be in this room. So for that, I want to say thanks to the men in this room because, again, you cannot empower women without having allies. You have to have people who don't have to wait till they have wives and children to understand what it's like to be a woman in today's world, okay? It's a parallel journey. Everyone know what parallel is? You hold hands, not hold hands, I know, naughty business here. You're walking side by side with your male colleagues or your female colleagues. It's not we're gonna give rights to the women, so the men are gonna suffer. So this is again beyond today's talk, but please educate yourself on the Black Lives Movement, the BLM movement. Please educate yourself on what's going on in Hong Kong. Please learn about what's happening globally. Dr. Teo mentioned about the Mulan movie. I want you all to go and Google about what's happening with the Mulan movie. I'm not going to talk about it here, but you need to know that this conversation is not just something that is local, it's not just regional, this is something global. So you got to think big and act local. I think you all heard this when you were kids. Think globally, act locally, right? I've mentioned before, when you have that mind frame that you're not, Dr. Teo mentioned about special exceptions. As a woman, don't ask for special treatment. You know, don't say, oh, I'm a chick, I need, you know, I need to have these extra bits just because I'm a woman. No. Do you get time off just because you've got a painful period? So when I was examining a student one day, a medical student, her performance in the exam was terrible. And when I asked her, I said, okay, I pulled her aside. I said, okay, Joanna, is there any issues you need to talk about? Doctor, I got my period, it's a bit painful. So I said, that's not an excuse, all right? If you do have something that's medical, get help for it. But please do not use something like that as an excuse for a subpar performance. That's why no one will take you seriously. Do you understand? I really hope this is not going to be misinterpreted, but what I'm trying to say is, you want to play fair, you want to fight fair, you yourself have to bring your A game to the arena. Do you understand what I'm saying? You can't just be like, oh yeah, well, I'm fair, honey, I got freckles, I'm like fat, but yeah, so make all these assessments for me, all right? No, all right? You want to fight with the big boys, you want to play in their field, you do your best, all right? No excuses. I mentioned how everybody has drama. Everyone in this room and watching, you've all experienced different levels of loss. Maybe you've lost your kitty cat, your dog, you've lost your father, your mother, something that has been very deep. Everybody has that sense of sadness, all right? Now, Noreen mentioned she was a bigger person before, whatever, so body image, mental health, all that is huge in our society, all right, especially today. And unfortunately, so all it means is that all of you have had it in different degrees. But in our society, we have a lot of PhDs. I know some of you are PhD doctors, but you all know what the Malaysian PhD is? Perasaan Hasad Dengki. So to the non-Malaysians, that means begrudgery. I think, is that right? Begrudgery. So say for example, one of my colleagues does really well. Instead of A, being happy for them, and B, finding out how they became successful to emulate, me and my friends get together and go like, oh my gosh, Diana is such a terrible person. All right, you know what she did to become the head of IRAS? You know, so you get and you gossip, and all you do is you want to bring down that person. And that is things like fitna. I don't know what fitna is in English, is slander. You have slander, you have smear campaigns. So don't do that. All that energy that you are putting towards bringing someone down, if you just put to yourself to improve, think of what you can do. You know what I'm saying? All right, so again, think about that. We're almost finishing here now. I want to just, and before I talk about what you guys can do, I want to talk about perfection. Everyone in this room, you guys want to be perfect. That's why you follow Instagram accounts. That's why you follow Facebook accounts. That's why some of you watch certain movies, you follow certain actors and celebrities, influencers, whatever. Perfection is, you have to be a smart consumer. Please realize there's something called Photoshop. There's something called edits. You do know the images you see are not 100% halal or kosher, right? Okay, because you do have supplements that are saying some celebrities will sell things like, oh, you can get taller if you take these tablets. Okay, these are the common ones. You know, someone else's idea is not just yours. Okay, some of you may have parents who be like, you know, you can, if only you were thinner, you would be married by tomorrow. If only you were fairer, you would have married a Dato's son by now. Not Dato', Dato's son. All right, because the Dato' will have a wife, you see? So you want the Dato's son. So this is how Malaysia or even Asian culture is. You have to be fair skinned, you have to be very thin, and you have to be willing to be the subversive one in a relationship to be successful. So please tweak that in your mind and ask yourself, does skin pigmentation really matter? Of course it doesn't. All right, like earlier when the previous speaker came on, I know it was just reflex, so Pandit was like, oh, she's so pretty. Now, the thing is, chantikness, prettiness, beauty, if that's your currency, then you need to reevaluate what goes on, because it's cliche, it's what inside that matters, but when you're actually happy inside, I really can't stress that enough, it actually shows. Like, I've just mentioned a little bit of the stress I'm going through, but I think you can appreciate I'm quite a happy person, and if after today, Dr. Vela tells me, girl, I want to tell you, I haven't seen you in a long time, you put on weight. If he tells me that 5 minutes from now, I'm not going to sit in my car and go, Dr. Vela, say I'm fat. I'm not going to do that. I'll just be like, dude, what about your tummy? Because he's my friend, I can say that, you see? Now Dr. Vela already wearing, how she know got tummy and wearing black, So see, so what I'm saying is how you let people's criticism affect you, that's on you, okay? And we need to work on that. Finally, what can you do? What can you do, folks, about everything we've talked about here today? All of you are from organizations, right? All of you are from organizations. Those of you also tuning in from Singapore, Japan, Philippines. Please create opportunity. In your own jobs, if you have the capacity, create opportunity for the youth to come up. Create opportunity for people to have a voice, not just the same people all the time. Basically you have to have people who are willing to not just sit here and go, me, 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 me. When I was 3 years old, me, 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 my story. 5 years old, me, 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 my story. Don't have people here who are just going to talk to you about increasing business to their business, increasing flow to their business, increasing their revenue. No, you got to have people who are organically there to help you, okay? Not just people you have to give opportunities to people who are not from big cities. This is very important because for gymnastics, I'm very active in gymnastics. You can't just be good in sports if you're from a smaller state which doesn't have infrastructure. I'm sure all of you in your housing estates, you all know about fields, padangs, which have been turned into condominiums, which have been turned into somebody's big bungalow. If you know something like that is in the works and you have a voice to stand up and say, our children need a field to play in. It's just a padang, it's a field, but you have to speak up and save your children's activity. Then you can't talk about sport because the kids have nowhere to go. You know what I'm saying? All right, organizers like today, please widen your net, okay? Please feature athletes that are not just glam or the chante and the handsome ones, the ones with the six packs, because there are a lot of athletes out there whose story needs to be told because of representation. What do I mean by representation? You've got a kid maybe in the middle of some small town in Perak, some small town in Perlis. Perlis always feels neglected because they're all far up north, right? Anyone here from Perlis? Nobody's going to admit it now. And I'll be like, So the point is, feature those people, bring them down. When you have forums like this, have people who can speak to you about their stories, all right? Those who have been in the media, they can just Google that name and there'll be a whole story about that person. Okay, so please think about the non-glam, non-famous, non-chante, non-handsome athletes because their inside is iron, their inside is titanium, and they're beautiful souls that need to be featured, okay? I told you about being a smart consumer. Please be aware that what you see on social media, hashtag fake news. All right, a lot of the faces, a lot of the bodies have implants in them, fillers, Botox, that's all me and my colleagues do, have done work on them. But you look at them and when the interview said, this is from prayer water. I am this pretty because I pray, and this is from the grace of God, okay? No. It's from a cosmetic surgeon, it's from an aesthetic physician. All right, so don't be, in Malay we say bodoh. Don't be silly, please be a smart consumer, okay? Don't buy a product just because, you just don't be a dumb A asterisk, okay? All right, this is very important, I'm gonna finish up on soon, is what you say to yourself in the mirror. I talked about that earlier. Now I'm going to ask you that now. Think about the last time you looked in the mirror. What did you say to yourself? And now I want you to think, who observed you saying what you said? It could be your car mirror. It could be your mirror this morning. Was your child listening? And your child can be a child, meaning an adolescent, or it could be an adult. Just remember, when your offspring listens to mommy talk about how mommy is so fat, no wonder daddy doesn't sayang mommy anymore. Sayang means love. How do you think your child feels? You are their mother, you are their father, they look up to you, and yet you are in the mirror beating yourself down. Your daughter will be like, but I look like her, I look like him. So that means daddy doesn't love me either. Do you see what I'm saying? So again, think about that. I'm not going to tell you how to think because that's not what this is about. I want you to realize what you say to yourself in the mirror, it's bigger effect than what you think, all right? In Malay culture, when we got married, it started raining. So for those of you online, it's raining very heavily now. So I was told that's good luck. So I presume this is called rezeki, which is good luck. So hopefully the connections and all that are still okay. So finally, folks, what I want to say to you is get your head right. You have to fix here and here before you can give out there. Do you understand? Here and here, nobody can fix it. Only you can fix it. All right? And it's an ongoing process. Nurin at this age, Dr. Teo at her age, at my age, we all have different lives. Even Fanit, everybody's got different ways of processing things. So allow yourself that change. How you see yourself 5 years ago is not how you see yourself now and in the future, okay? I want to just talk about very quickly, when some of you have medical checkups and you get results, cholesterol thingy, high cholesterol, your sugar is high, please, please don't panic. Don't go immediately to Mid-Valley Shopping Mall and buy half of the pharmacy in supplements, all right? I tell you that because seriously, people, you have to stop looking for quick fixes. We have to stop looking for quick fixes. Your previous speakers have touched upon this. You want to have a healthy lifestyle, what do you do? You eat well. What do we do as Malaysians? And I'm maybe not so much in Japan, but definitely in Singapore and Malaysia. How many times a day do we eat rice? And when you take rice, the rice covers the whole plate, right? You cannot see the rest of the plate because the rice covers it. Then we talk about vegetable. How is our vegetable eaten? Fried in oil with lots of onions, lots of garlic. So you have to take responsibility for what goes in your body. And then you complain, why my pants is so tight, you know? Why I've got to go and buy new underwear because it doesn't fit anymore. It's because of the crap you put in your body, man. Chill. Sorry, now to come lecture already, huh? Okay, so what I'm saying is it's no point coming to forums like this, attending forums like this, if you cannot take responsibility for your own actions, all right? I say that because it applies to me as well. I'm writing up my PhD thesis now, and I have not exercised in several weeks. It's a very sedentary life, and I already feel it, all right? And I'm very unfit. I could be better. So we all need to do better for ourselves. Finally, I just want to share a saying with you. It's something that you will only understand if you've been in this position. And that is, it's by a person called Toni Morrison, who's a prolific writer, and she passed away. I'm going to say it slowly, so just see if you understand what I'm trying to say. When you get these jobs that you have been so brilliantly trained for, just remember that your real job, that if you are free, you need to free somebody else. If you have some power, then your job is to empower someone else. I'm going to just leave that with you because what that says is, every one of you in this room, like I said, you are all working as civil servants like myself. We all have a voice. We are all under this group called KYMP. For those of you who are non-Malaysian, that stands for Kami Yang Menurut Perintah, which means whatever your boss says, top down, you have to go, yes sir, no sir, 3 bags full sir. All right? I say that with good and bad because we follow the government of the day, correct? Yeah, so this is not a political bit, but what I'm saying to you is, right and wrong doesn't need you to be a politician. Isn't that correct? Fundamentally about humanity, when someone is being bullied, when someone is being harassed, when somebody is coming to you with a problem, don't isolate people, help people. If they can't be helped, then what is the solution in civil service? They get transferred, right? Everybody's like, You know, problematic people never get fired, they get transferred. So please do your best to help each other is what I'm saying. Be kinder to each other because you don't know what is happening behind closed doors. So I think, again, 20 minutes, not much I could cover, so I hope that was okay, Fanit. So again, those people in IS know how to get in touch with me. Any of you, if any of this has touched you, any of you are struggling to conceive, you're having problems or anything like that, I'm not a gynecologist, I'm not an obstetrician, but I can help you process what's going on in here, and most importantly in here. Don't be sad alone is what I'm saying, okay? We can be sad together, all right? So the Japanese and Filipinos and Singaporeans, it was lovely to meet you guys. So I think now we have a session together, correct? Yeah, okay, so I'm going to hand over to Adi. So thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Big round of applause for Prof. Can I have Nurin on stage?
Oh,
Nurin?
Can we stay here?
Yeah, we stay here because we have the Q&A session right now. So feel free to raise up your hand if you have a question from the floor, but I've already have one from our Zoom call. So we have from Nurul Ashika. She's a Singaporean athlete. I think this question resonates very well with whatever that Prof. Farah have mentioned earlier. So she was asking, how do you politely tell people off for their unhelpful comments? Staying quietly will only perpetuate stereotypes.
Yeah.
Prof, you want to take the question?
So that's a very good, sorry, is this on, guys? Can you hear? Yeah, so what was the name of the asker?
Nurashika.
Nurashika? All right, okay, thanks. That's a very good question, and that's actually, hi Chinsen, hi Dr. Teo, can you see us?
Yes, we can.
So, did you get the question? Did you hear the question? It was basically, okay, so it's basically how to handle unhelpful comments. So maybe I'll go first and then we'll, so to, that basically comes under the heading managing conflict to some extent. And that is a whole day's worth of sitting together, how to manage conflict. Isn't that right? Like there's conflict at home, at the workplace. So to the person who asked that very good question, number one is realize that these unhelpful comments are not about you. They're not about you per se. So the key thing there is don't take it personally. And it's so easy to people to say that, yeah, don't take it personally lah. You are so sensitive. If you're Singaporean, don't take it so personally, sia. Right, okay? But in Malaysia, it's lah. All right, now here's the thing. It's very difficult not to take things personally. Isn't that right? When people say stuff to you, you can be as tough, like I said, when you're a titanium person. It hurts, like right there. You know, and I've got a lot of fat to cover my heart, but it still hurts when people say, oh my God, look at, so just say, no, bring me your arm for a second. So I got one colleague who came to me in the ward when I'm halfway seeing patients. Hey, Farah, long time no see. Wow, you're so fat. Grab my arm like that. Okay, she grabbed my arm. I hope the person who asked this question can see. She grabbed my arm, shook my biceps and all this fat that's here. You know the bingo wings, the bye-bye arm? She grabbed, oh my God, this is why you cannot have children. I'm there like, I had just lost my dad, guys. My dad had passed away a few months ago, and I'm there like, what are you saying? And I'm got a patient in front of me, and then she's on like baby number 14 now. And she goes, oh, you know, I'm doing really well with all these kids. You have to start soon. We were in our 30s then. So you just imagine the mindset and the context. I'm in my job. I'm about to see a patient with cancer, and someone's there criticizing my fatness, my non-kiddiness, and the fact that I failed as my duty as an Asian woman, right? So to answer that question, how do you respond is, first of all, see where you are. You are there to do a duty, you're at a job. If this happens in your office, just say, okay, well, why, if you really want to go deep with it, you can say, okay, why do you ask me that? You know, so you can do that if you really want to, but it's a wasted exercise because that person has their vision of the world. All you have to do is, you know, if, you guys know when this usually happens? It usually happens during all our festive holidays, right? And in Malaysia, you know we have so many. Raya, 2 Rayas, then we have Thaipusam, we have Deepavali, then we have Chinese New Year, then you have Cap Gome. And then it's the same in Philippines over Christmas, Thanksgiving. Everybody dreads being with family because you get the non-married comments. Oh, you only got one child. Yeah, so lonely without that child. I can meet another one. Yeah, you can just order like in McDonald's, right? And then a baby will come, boom, right? So again, to answer that question is, I cannot give you a prescription of what to say, but I can say to you, you need to be equipped yourself to say, it's not about me, it's about that person. And sometimes you just literally smile and brush it off. And that's what I do now. When people criticize me, and again, this is another session, Fanit. I had a very tough year professionally last year. I can't go into it, but those of you in civil service know that when you work hard for something, honestly, you work with honesty, you work with ikhlas. Ikhlas literally means honesty. and you hear things about you being said which you know are not true, and you know there's evidence of these things being said. Again, remember I told you it hits you right here? I don't know how many times I can share with you that I cried in bathrooms. Some of you here who are my close friends would know a little bit about how I've had to deal with it. And you imagine that's my mom. I come home at the end and I tell my mom sees I had a depressed face, etc. How to handle abnormal comments is that you have to figure out what is the right thing to do. And that is the only way I can answer that. How do you know what is the right thing to do? Again, it goes back to you knowing where you stand, what is up here in your own minds. How are you wired? What matters to you? What matters to your heart? If those of you here who are mothers, someone says something like that to you, you just think, how whatever you answer, your child is going to hear it. So at functions, if you have one child and someone says, yeah, Salma, you only have one child. When's the other one? I'm saying it in English, but of course it's said in your own language. Salma, if she answers, yeah lah, what to do, you know, I'm so fat, he, no wonder lah, I cannot have children. Your kids are going to hear that and they're going to go, oh my gosh, mommy's so fat. You know, mommy's not pretty. Mommy doesn't matter. Mommy's not like the influencers we see. You know, mommy's not skinny, she's not pretty, you know. Do not do that. Do not. Mommy is like this, just in a different package. I'm going to say that again. All of you here are this, just with different package. Do you understand? All right? You all, you know, it's all your vision goggles. All right? So I hope that makes sense. But again, it's hard to cover in a Q&A. But I think if we ask Dr. Teo and then Lorraine, so Dr. Teo, it's basically all the auntie, uncle comments. Do you have a formula that you can help viewers how to answer things? So my input was two things, very simple. Realize it's not about you. And basically number two is know the context and then just move on. Just, you know, realize it's not you, it's them. And that's it. Yeah. So maybe Dr. Tu, you want to say something? Then we'll hand it over to Nurin.
Okay. Hi. I think when people say unhelpful comments, before you answer with your gut, I think you think about it first. Is there truth in that comment, right? It means a self-reflection. Is that true? Yeah. If it is true, then for your self-improvement, maybe you might want to ask what makes you say that. Yeah, to understand. But once you do that, you need to be sitting there. The person may not be able to answer you, you know, because then it's just a flippant comment. Then they don't have they can't substantiate what they say. But if it is a comment that is true of yourself or a criticism of yourself, and you take it in a helpful manner, because we said we want to learn, right? Then you say, oh, what makes you say that? And then you listen, and then they can justify or explain or substantiate what they say. And then if you agree, then say, okay, well, thank you for your comment, and finish with it, right? Number two, if this is a criticism about yourself. Number two is, if you don't agree, then is that person prepared to be engaged in a discussion with you as to whether, you know, maybe they need correction. All right, somebody needs to be corrected lah. Or sometimes we just agree to disagree, and that's okay too. Okay, and that's how we'll look at unhelpful comments. And if I have no time, I think it's not important, and I assess that this person is just, you know, just wanting to just be very flippant and saying it in an irresponsible manner, then I don't bother. I'll just take the route that Farah says and just it's okay lah. Let him be entitled, or let him or her be entitled to what they want to say. It's all right. I don't have to prove anything to this person. Next. And that's how I would look at it.
Yeah. Well, it always comes back to yourself, you know, whatever within you. Is there any other question from the floor? Any one of you? I mean, it's not easy to bring these two speakers here. If you have anything that you want to, you know, say it out loud. And we also have Dr. Teo all the way from Singapore. Any other questions from the floor? You want to ask what kind of Zumba step you need to take? No? Okay, if it's no, then it's my time to give the question out, if that's all right. Okay. So, but we don't really have that much of time because we're going to have our lunch break after this.
Okay.
Just a quick, just want to know what's going on in the market right now. It's more of a question for Nurin. What's the most interesting trend for 2020 for women in sports? And, you know, we also have COVID this year, unfortunately. How does the trend change? And as an influencer, how do you know, see this as an opportunity for you, like what Prof said mentioned earlier, to create more opportunity for others?
Do you want to use my mic?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
It's working now.
All right, thank you so much for the question. All right, like Dr. Farah said that my generation is quite different from Dr. Farah. For our generation, especially for social media and as an influencer in social media, we as a trend for this pandemic season, the most trending part that I realize right now is a home workout. And so what I've been telling you guys about the home workout and the basic home workout that I just did is what are the things that you can do at home, at least a little bit, because that somehow helps you to keep moving rather than not doing anything. So as an influencer, what I normally do is just to encourage people on doing a home workout, especially for women out there, because they don't feel confident about going to the gym. Number one is because of mostly gym are filled with guys. So when they have guys over there, they are not confident about doing a workout because they not really familiarized dengan with all the equipments over there. So one of the initiatives that they can do is the home workout. And Zumba, whatever not that you want to do, it's on in YouTube. I myself done all the workout, just follow the YouTube.
Yeah. All right. Any other question from the floor or maybe from our chat box in Zoom? All right. So we come to the end of our session
Actually,
today.
can I just quickly ask, because just from the first question, so you mentioned earlier, Noreen has like gazillion followers on Instagram. So I'm sure you all know what haters are. So, you know, haters gonna hate. So do you have haters?
I do.
So can you share with us, sorry, just taking over MC Paul. Can you share? So I'm sure you all know what haters are. It's just that a certain generation, our haters are in the office. They are in your social circles, you know, your primary school or secondary school WhatsApp group. You'll have a separate splinter WhatsApp group for the bitchy group to, sorry?
You know the group without boss and
Yes.
WhatsApp group with boss.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. But exactly. So I just would like to say, because hopefully there's multiple generations that are tuning in, can you share with us how you deal with your haters in the sense, and I'm not talking about sort of what resources you do, but just, can you just talk us through how that affects you and what you do? Do you block them or just let us know?
All right. Okay. First of all, I do have a lot of haters, especially to those who have a very close mindset. But I'm not really worried about that because I'm a very optimistic person. I'm unstoppable. So whenever they give me hate comments, especially when I do Zumba and I post it on social media, they would say like, okay, I'm not sure whether they would understand it, but they would say like, macam pakai tudung tapi tergedi-gedi, in a sense that it's a very hate comment for those who are something like we as a woman, we cannot do dance. Especially when you are wearing hijab.
Like if you're wearing hijab, you need to be modest. I mean, for others,
you can't do all,
saying.
correct.
Yeah, so for them, it's like Zumba is something not associated with modesty.
Yeah, but it's very simple for me. So to those who actually give me all these hate comments, first of all, I would say in my caption, to those who give me hate comments, I will block them right away.
So that's why you do, you block them.
Yeah, because they are not important and they don't give me any benefit at all. So it's just possible I just move on with that.
So apart from the hijab issue, is there any other type of hate that you would get? Like as in, so a lot of things maybe Dr. Teo and myself would have had to prove ourselves. So being women, you have to work extra harder to prove yourself. Those of you in the room know exactly what I'm talking about. You have the same set of rules, but if you're the woman, you have to work 3 times as hard. And as a former athlete, you work 10 times as hard because you get told, Farahanini, who does she think she is, you know? You get that kind of prejudice that I told you about. So in your sense, can you share with our audience, like what, apart from the hijab issue, so no religion, nothing, but, and what kind of hate that you might deal so that people listening will know?
All right, so actually I get bullied for almost every single school that I went, from primary school, high school, and through university, especially about my appearance. I have a complications with my teeth, that I have no teeth in front. So they make fun of me through, actually they do a Facebook page where they call Anti-Noreen Africa.
Okay.
Yeah,
Wow.
so they do have that and they have supporters for that.
I mean, in that sense, you already reached that level, which is good. You're that famous.
So there's a saying that I just want to share with you. There's a saying from one of my professors from the Indian subcontinent, and he told me this last year. If you get to a level, and Dr. Teo, I'm not sure if this has happened to you, if you get to a level where people are hating on you, that means you've made it.
Yeah,
kalau orang, in Malay, it's like if you have, well, I won't say Malay, in English everybody understands. But the point is, and there's a saying in Arabic culture where, what is it, when the wind blows the palm tree, the best date will fall.
Yeah.
So I had to think about that when I was like, oh, okay lah, means time to date lah. so that's great. So I have my eye, you have your teeth,
Yeah.
and Fanet says she has everything, but I think she's perfect.
Yeah.
But she, we just
Thank
have to
you,
get
I'm
fit. So eye, teeth, and if we go around, everyone's gonna have something, right? So yeah. So what were you
What
gonna
I'm
say,
trying to
Seb?
say is that even though I have a very bad complication with my teeth, I had to wear braces for 9 years. I had to go to 3 major surgeries, and they still make fun of it. But I don't let them in because that's how I see in myself. I know my qualities. So what you see in yourself, what you believe in yourself. So what matters the most is how you see yourself. If you let other people think of you that way, that's how you're gonna be. But if you think that you are pretty, it doesn't matter if you don't want to be skinny. You want to be just chubby as it is. And if you think that that way makes you feel good, then be that way. Just be healthy. That's it.
And then right there's the breakthrough. Woohoo!
My point, yes. Big round of applause. Ladies and gentlemen, we are actually running out of time. I think I heard someone's stomach growling just now. And it's raining. It's even big combo, And then after that, during lunchtime, I hope nobody have droopy eyes nanti tidur, and it's a big combo. All right. So if I can just run through our session today, all our 3 speakers, a prominent figure in whichever fields that they, ventured in. The 3 main points that I can see is, first, all of them speak the same things in terms of confidence. And confidence comes from yourself. Whatever that you see in yourself, when you believe in yourself, you can go further. When you feel confident, you don't really bother about what other people will say about you, right? The second one is, this is something that I see similarities between these 3 speakers, where they don't give excuses, They start from themselves before they start contributing to the society. And I think relate back to our topic today, women as a catalyst, we need to help ourselves first, right? Before we can help others. And the third one would be, of course, family is important to support us as well. And for those that without strong background, might come from minority, might come from, we have a lot of insecurities about ourselves. I'm Siamese, I'm not Malay. I get a lot just now, people were asking me if I'm Malay. I look like Malay, but I'm not Malay, I'm Siamese. I don't see it as a difference, but I see it as a uniqueness, that wherever I go, it's a brand of yourself. So you create your own brand. You create the opportunity for yourself and also for others. With that, I end our Women on Track session. Thank you very much, Dr. Teo, Prof. Farah, and also Nurin. Can I have Dr. Bella Pandian on stage to again, present our appreciation to our speakers? Thank you.
Che, got appreciation. Wow.
Of course. Thank you, Dr. Teo. I hope to see you in real life as well.
Che, I still
Okay. All right.
My social distance, right? Che, come. Let's go youth first. You go young first. There we go. Wait, can we get Anet in as well? Oh, because you work so hard. Che. Can we get one more, Ricky?
Yeah.
So in sports, you have to be team photo, right? That's the important part.
We
Che.
have music.
Oh yeah, we should add that, technical spec, right? Maybe after lunchtime, I'll make sure we have music, yeah? All right. Okay, thank you very much to our speakers. Our lunch is provided at the back. Surah is just upstairs and toilet is just at the side of the door. We will see you back for our next session at 2 p.m. Please be punctual, please be in here by then. And also for our Zoom, for our friends on Zoom call, you can just log out and log in back again by 2 p.m. And trust me, you wouldn't want to miss our after lunch session, because we're gonna have big athletes. I mean, these people are someone who we even have Olympians with us. So I hope that you can stay tuned and listen to what they have for us. So I'll be right back.